Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Hey,
Paul. Good evening and good afternoon, everyone.
how is everyone doing? We have Jerry, first watcher of today. Good morning, Jerry. And Adisa's
Jerry.
watching us from Colorado. How are you guys doing? How are you, Kay?
I am very tired. I just I had a very quick trip to New York last night, and
Right,
I said I need to get back home before this Super Bowl tonight. So I
right,
just
right, right,
I
for
just
sure.
drove and got back home at 3 o'clock in the morning. I feel like I'm still a young kid, going to New York City for a quick in out, enjoy and then go
How
home.
far was the drive?
Well, the drive is not bad. It's about 3.5 hours, really. But if
Not
it's
bad, yeah.
traffic during the daytime, it can be like 4. You know how New York traffic is? So that's the thing there. It might take you an hour just to get about 5 miles.
Right, right. Jerry's saying, "Where's Anna?" She's coming in soon. She's doing a class right now. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 19, budgeting for immigrants. This is what we're going to talk about. This is one of the things we've been wanting to talk about for a bit, but we prioritized other issues that we think was more of a priority. But this is one of Kay's favorite topic to talk about, right? And Kay, how important is it for us to like talk about finances, especially for immigrants, getting accustomed to like US expenses and all that?
So it's very important because a lot of people who come here are basing their cost of living from their home places, which is absolutely not. There's a big difference, and a lot of people would do under budgeting. And when they get here, they're like, oh, it's not enough. And then now I'm screwed with this job, and now I need to find better places to help me with my finances. And that's where a lot of people would now put in the position, this is not enough. I'm going to move out and I'm not going to
Right.
finish this contract. So we have those issues there. But the second thing is also a lot of our foreign nursing workforce who would come here with a family, they will feel defeated and they will feel like their choices of coming to the United States were wrong or mistake just because they didn't realize the amount of financial budgeting.
Right.
They did not prepare for it, and they just think that just plain coming to the United States was a wrong idea for their family, and they put a blame on themselves. On top of the mental challenge of being homesick, now you carry this burden as a primary provider for your family,
Provider.
and
Yeah.
it's not making ends meet. And now that adds to the toll of the mental health problem among newly immigrants to the United States. So it's very important, very, very important.
Right. And of course, we have a lot of viewers today, but guys, please share and tag your friends. We're going to wait for a bit so Anna can come in. But in the past shows, Kay, we've talked about, nurses coming in and what types of things they're going to look for in their contract. And part of it, I think I remember us sharing, talking about, checking your rate per hour or annually. Also check the cost of living of the city you're gonna move in, because it's easy to say, like for example, for us Filipinos, oh, I was offered 30 an hour, that's 60,000 a year. Wow, that's a lot of money. That's 3 million pesos, Philippine pesos in a year, right? But
Mhm.
that's if you're working in the Philippines. Of course, that's a lot of money. But here in the States, you earn dollars, you spend dollars, and you pay taxes, you pay insurances, and all those things. So the 60,000 might not actually be 60,000. So very important to learn budgeting, especially for your new immigrant. But this is only not for new immigrant. This is a skill that a lot of nurses need to learn. We remember during the peak of travel nursing day during COVID, everybody was trying to make huge money. And in the groups that we were in, Kay, right? The question was like, where am I going to put my extra money? Like now I have so much money. Like, should I spend more? No. So the rule is if you have a budget, you know where your money is going into. It's financial planning. It's very, very important. That will also prevent you to go bankrupt. You did not move all the way to the US overseas, bring your family only to become bankrupt. That's why In the group that we have, Kay, we hear people saying, you know what, I was in a much better position when I was in UAE or when I was in Saudi or when I was in UK because I'm more stable. But that's the matter of fact. When you come over here, the first 1 to 3 years is you just getting established. So you will be unstable because you're starting again. So you have to be financially prepared for that. Budgeting is a very very important skill that's not being taught in nursing school, but very
Yeah,
important for all of us.
absolutely. And when you're right, Paul, when you start here, it's going to be unstable. There's a lot of expenses that you are not foreseeing. And for you not to have a budget upon arrival, it adds to the disaster. So for me, if you have a budget, estimated on a very reasonable amount, it's not doesn't have to be actually the same, but it's very close to it. You can avoid those disaster because now you're just only working on or being challenged on those expenses that you did not foresee. But for for the budget, I mean for the expenses that you can foresee, you can avoid being stressed on those at the beginning of your life. So it's very
Right.
important. um, you're starting up in the United States. There are things you cannot control in life, I always say that, and there are things you
Mhm.
can control in life. So for the things you can control in your life, do something about it, because for the things that you cannot control your life, you shouldn't really be stressing so much because it's out of your control. But having a preparation for that can help you survive.
Right. And let's acknowledge our viewers. Tell us, guys, where you're coming from. We have quite a good amount of viewers today. And we are recording this for those who are not able to join. So kindly tag your friends on their day off or after shift. They can watch this. All right. And we're still waiting for Anna. But so what brought you to New York, Kay?
So we have new friends here in Maryland that we want to tour around, and we have visitors as well. So we have family visitors. So I said, let's go to New York. Let's go around. It's going to be nice. I initially thought, Kong Hei Fat Choi for all the Chinese community out there. Happy New Year. So there's a big celebration in New York for the lunar year. As you know, New York City
Happy New
is
Year
one
to
of
our
the
Chinese friends.
yeah, so my
Okay.
background is Chinese too. So, again, kami pa Choi. And it's really
I'm
nice
Chinese
because
too,
he was
Kay.
you're so which one, the
According,
ice?
according to 23 and me, I'm 0.5% Chinese and 0.5% Spanish.
Yeah. Do you
Uh,
follow those feng shui, so feng shui?
my mom believes in that very, very big,
Yeah.
but I have not practiced feng shui, but I'm familiar.
Yeah, so we do practice it in the when we were in the
Mm,
Philippines.
yeah,
We
right,
don't
right.
strictly follow it. There are times that we don't portion of it, but there are times that we talk about it. So for me, these are the things that balance your life after you did like couple of months working hard. You have to treat yourself for something, some trips that you really like. So for me, I always like going back to New York City. It's my home here in the United States, so I've lived there, and I'm just a city girl, Paul. Anything
Right,
that the
right,
city is just gonna give me more, it's like my booster shot, for
right, right.
vaccine. So but then again, travel trips, it's good that we're talking about it because these travels should be part of your budget.
Budget, that's right. And Kay, we have Eris watching us from Iloilo, Philippines. Kalisa is watching us from Jamaica. What time is it in Jamaica right now? Oluchi is watching us from Nigeria. Jerry is from Santa Monica. And Peter is from New York City. Wow, from the Big Apple. I haven't been to New York for a bit. I should visit. I have a lot of friends there. And maybe we should do a live show there, Kay. Yumi and Anna,
Yeah.
since she's in there.
Yeah, like sipping nice coffee there last night. I was just enjoying my coffee, and then I said, let me drive back. It's good. 9:09 names actually. It's like Easter time. So Jerry, you're very early, California. Wow, 6 a.m. Is this your usual routine, Jerry? On a Sunday?
Right. All right, so now let's get down to the business. We're going to talk about budgeting for immigrants. But again, this can also benefit nurses everywhere or nurses working in the US. But like Kay said earlier, I think personally budgeting is very important. I'm a huge advocate for budgeting. I have a budget. I have a spreadsheet that details my budget from income to expenses. In my business, I do my own books. So in my personal life, I also do my own books. All right. Every month, I revisit what expenses I do. I mainly use credit card for points, but I do not accrue balances. I pay it every month, so that way it doesn't accrue balances. But mainly just using credit card for points and also for consumer protection because credit card offers extended warranty and stuff like that. But that also gives me a paper trail, right? Cash for me is hard to follow in the US. 99% of establishments accept card anyway. I like to use card because it gives me a paper trail so I can reevaluate. Hold on, did I spend too much for meals this month? Did I spend too much for travels this month? Did I spend too much for something this month? But budgeting is very important, especially if you're coming over here. If you're getting a base rate of whatever local rate in the city that you're going to fly in, and you're bringing your whole family, and you have to find an apartment that requires deposit, and you have to buy a car that requires deposit, and so many other things that you need to buy, furnitures and food and all that, clothing. I think it's very important that you know your budget and so you have an upper limit of how much you can spend for something, all right? Because if you don't have budget, it's like setting a goal for your life, right? Budget is like your financial goal. Without that objective measurement, kind of like in nursing too, right? Without a target for certain vital signs, for example, or labs, then you don't know what you're trying to do, right? So you don't know if you're over or under. You don't know if you have extra money to save or to splurge on something, or you're running out of cash and you're going bankrupt. And that's a terrible thing to happen. And we've heard reports, nurses telling us that they couldn't get their budget straight because they started on the wrong foot, right? They front
Yeah.
loaded expenses, they front loaded debts, and now they realize that, oh my goodness, they're canceling us in the hospital. I can't even make 40 hours. I budgeted for 40 hours, but now I'm only working 30.
Mhm.
So my salary is like way lower than
Yeah.
expected. So you got to prepare for those things. Also, if you're a new immigrant here in the USK, we have nurses where they come over and they don't start right away, right? For whatever reason,
Mhm.
maybe their agency required them to undergo training in another state. I've heard one agency do that. Maybe the hospital pulled out and now they're trying to find you another a relocation or something. Or hospitals has a cycle for start dates. I was lucky because when I got here, I only have to wait 1 week, and all my paperwork got there in time. I was able to start next week. But I've heard nurses waiting for a month because they're still waiting for their social
Yeah.
security number and stuff like that. So you have to have a buffer. You have to have a budget for 1 to 3 months without work because you'll never know if you're gonna start right away or you're gonna be delayed because of all the paperwork. Remember, you're an immigrant. You're still establishing not only your life here, but also your identity. That requires you to have social security and your green card papers and all that. So without those, you really cannot start work. I remember, okay, what I did was, the social security doesn't appear to your mailbox till like 1 or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I went to Social Security SSA and said, "Sir, these are my identification. I just need the number for my work because without this, I'm not going to be able to start work. So I just need the number so I can open a bank account. Bank account is needed for work for the check so they can do direct deposit." And they were generous enough to write it for me because I mean they verified my identity anyway. But maybe that's one way to do that instead of waiting for Social Security. But imagine if this was like a problem where you didn't receive the social security number and you don't know your number and you can't start a job. So, yep. And these stories actually happen. So, very important to budget.
And a lot of people, when they get here and they're changing jobs or let's say they sign up a contract under staffing companies, right? And these staffing companies have a provision in their contract clauses that they can be moved anytime, any day. You can be terminated, anytime, any day for any reason as well, except unless it's illegal. And these nurses did not realize that this comes with financial burden. So if you sign up with staffing companies and all of a sudden your company would say, we will have to move you to a different facility, which is happening all the time because there is no more need on that facility, what are you going to have? These contract clauses have financial impact. So I'd like everybody here to understand that when you sign contracts for staffing companies, you just don't look for salary, you look for clauses that might impact you financially because
Mm-hmm.
your clauses there that's saying your income, you can budget your life with that. You're going to use this as an income for your money. But then how about the outflow of your money? So examples of things that are under your contract that will cost you money. Number one, healthcare premium. If your company is offering healthcare benefits, you're going to have to ask the healthcare premium. Employees who are signing directly to the facilities, hospitals, or corporate hospital corporation, they have better coverage when it comes to healthcare insurance because these people is kind of like employees of these hospitals and get discount rate on those hospital bills, of course, because that's their employer. They have the leverage to change or give a discount to these nurses who's working for them. However, if you are under staffing companies don't own hospitals. So technically, they don't have leverage to lower down your medical bills and medical costs. How, so when you compare those things, healthcare insurance premium, I mean healthcare premium, monthly premium, that is a big impact. I've seen a lot struggle financially because they didn't realize signing up with staffing company would actually have more expensive. Not all staffing companies, but I'm saying majority of the staffing companies there would offer lesser quality insurance, or I would say lesser quality in a way that it's expensive and it has less coverage. Whereas compared to hospital employees, they have good coverage and lower premium. So these people did not realize that as a family of four under a staffing company who does not provide a very good health insurance will cost them at least about $800 a month. If you're a person earning, 1,500 a week, 800 a month, that is a lot of money. So it's like $200, a week. So it's really financially burdensome. So that's number one. Number two, if you look at your contract and it's saying there that you can be transferred any moment, anywhere under a staffing company provision clause, there is a moving expense that can happen there. So, for example, my company will tell me I have to be assigned to a different hospital within 2 hours away. So there is no way that I'm going to commute every 2 hours. So our tendency is to move to that closer place and get a new apartment. But what happens to our current apartment? There are breach of contract, breach fees that are actually embedded when you sign those apartment clauses. When you rent an apartment, there is a termination clause there that will say if you move out of your apartment or this lease or this contract, if you terminate this contract less than a year or whatever less time that you sign for, then your security deposit might be not given back, or you at least have to give 2 months safety deposit or security deposit. So all of them can be gone. On top of that, you will need additional expense for moving to that new location
Mm-hmm.
for again a new down payment and and then restarting the whole time, cleaning up that place, buying new stuff, it's just additional money. So every time I move, you're gonna ask me, I moved 14 times in my life in the United States. How much does it cost? It's not cheap. Okay, so every time I move, it will be costing me at least $2,000 every single move I do.
Right.
And the bigger your family is, you probably will have to spend more than that. hire the movers with all our things, and it's costing us at least 5,000 now with a family. That's minimum. And there was a time that, our biggest move cost us about close to 10,000 because of interstate moving. You it's not too far, but I still need to hire movers, and they're not cheap, especially when you move during summer. That is very expensive, and you're gonna have to you don't want to keep on restarting to zero to zero to zero every time your staffing company have to move you around. So those are the two big impacts that you will have to pay attention in your contracts as a new immigrant nurse, and as a new grad too if you're signing some sign-in bonuses. Um, Common misconception, Paul. I have heard a lot of problem with this. Employers, please reiterate that sign-in bonus in America is taxable income. Our nurses coming here in the United States, you're promising them 5,000 sign-in bonus, you're promising them 10,000 sign-in bonus. You have to remember these people might be coming from places or countries that there is no income tax. No income tax primarily because they are what do you call this one, non-resident of that countries. So example are the people from Middle East. They if Middle East was their only first job before and they're coming to the United States, the majority of their income are not taxable. I think all of it, right, Paul? All of
Mm-hmm.
their income is not taxable in parts of the Middle East. So
Mm-hmm.
please, if you
Yep.
are hiring,
Tax free. Yep.
yes, if you are hiring foreign nurses, employers, please do explain and reiterate that if the sign-in bonus is 5,000, it's not $5,000
Mm-hmm.
that they're gonna see on that bank account. Because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our nurses are coming from countries that are not in the, not being
Correct.
taxed those. So
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to budget, thinking that if you give them $5,000, it's still going to be $5,000 that's going to go to their bank account, and then now they're out of the budget again. So please, I know these nurses are professionals. I know these nurses are it's their responsibility to know these things. But as a good employer, you guys should offer transitional program people from different countries coming to the United States, because this is a sign already if I'm going to trust you or not. A lot of these nurses would complain that, they gave us sign-in bonus of 10,000, we only see 6,000 in our bank account. So
Mm-hmm.
they feel defeated already at that time. At that moment, they feel like, I don't want to trust you.
Right. Right.
So then you lose your nurse's trust, and eventually, don't blame them if they leave. Well, it's not their fault that they didn't know. It's not your fault you didn't say, but there was just not enough disclosure. So
Right. Right.
transparency is very important if you want to keep this foreign nurses and new grad.
Yeah. Or at least put, this will be taxed. There will be tax deductions for it. That way everybody knows. And
Yeah.
okay, we have 100 viewers today. Inel is watching us from Arizona. So if you guys are watching us, kindly share where you guys are coming from. Miss Jean is also here. Welcome. And Kay shared very good information because, people from Middle East, you're right, they're not taxed. So they feel like when they're here, they feel like they're being robbed because they're promised this way. For example, gross income says 5,000 and they end up getting 3,000. Well,
Yeah.
that's just part of I call it participation fee for the government. Pay to play, kind of like that. So that's why perhaps one of the tips that I say is do not base your disposable income, even your expenses or finances, in your gross income. Never do that. You always go for net. What's your net? What's going to be left in your pocket that's going to go into your bank account? And then you start budgeting from that. If you do the gross income, that can fluctuate. Usually with me, I'm in Texas, we don't have state tax. So with me, if I see my gross income, I would normally do a 30 to 35% off of it automatically for all my deductions. But deductions would be taxes, benefits, health insurance, 401k. Um, and then the 65% is what remains. That's where I start my budgeting, right? I think a lot of people would start budgeting at their gross income. I think that's a fatal mistake, because if you do that, and I mean, if you go to high cost of living states where they take out more, for example, I worked in Chicago, they take automatic 5%, right? Hawaii, it's, I think, I'm not sure if it's 5 or 10% automatic, regardless of your gross income. That's on top of the federal. So now instead of 30 to 35% in my bank account, it's now 40% that was taken out from my gross income because 5% goes to the state. So something like that. Um, if you base it in your gross income, you're going to be in a big surprise. So you're going to go bankrupt very, very quickly with that, because you're going to realize that not all that money is going to go to your pocket, right? That's it. So I like to share this. You focus on your income first. What is your net income in a given month? Here in the States, we get paid bi-weekly. If you're a traveler, every week. All right. If you're getting paid weekly, bi-weekly, all right, you get extra 1 month, right, or two paychecks in a year, because there's 26 weeks bi-weekly, or 52 weeks in a year, right? Compared to monthly, where you only get 12 paychecks, or semi-monthly, you get 30 paychecks. So we have extra. Those extra you can you can put to savings. But for me, the first thing that you need to do for budgeting is focus on your income first. How much is your net income? Do you only have one job? Do you have side hustles? Do you have a PRN job outside the hospital? I remember one of my new immigrant nursing friends sharing in his story. Um, I picked an overtime, right? Two overtimes this paycheck, and they added $100 to my paycheck. $100, of course, because when you when your gross income goes higher, right, the deduction becomes more, right? Because the way they deduct withholding taxes, they base it on your paycheck, not your annual projected. So if your paycheck this month is 10,000, it's gonna think that for the whole year you're probably gonna earn 200 to 300,000. It's gonna project it for the whole year. To cut it short, the higher your gross income is, the higher taxes they're gonna take back. And that doesn't mean they're stealing from you, because at the end of the year they're gonna average it out and you're gonna get refunds, right? So what I told him, you know what, it will be better if you do a PRN job in another hospital, because then they're not going to compute it together, but you're still going to file taxes anyway, so something like that. But focus on your income first, your W2 income or your full-time job. How much do you make in a paycheck, right? And you go from there. I like to use paycheckcity.com. I'll share it in my TikTok. It's already lined up to be uploaded this week. But paycheckcity.com, in my TikTok, I'm going to show how to use it. But in paycheckcity.com, they have hourly calculator, or even your paycheck calculator. You choose your state, you put how much you earn per hour, and how many hours you've worked for that paycheck. Is it weekly or bi-weekly? It's up to you. And then it will tell you estimated how much you're going to earn, right? And I mean, it's not as accurate, but it's like, say, 20 to $50 difference. And for me, that's pretty close, because I've tried other calculators before, and it's like $200 off, $500 off, so large discrepancy. This one is like $20, $50 difference, and for me, that's as close as it can get, right? And that way I can predict how much I'm going to earn. But that was when I was travel nursing and I was picking up all these extra shifts and all that. Now I'm a salaried nurse practitioner, and I don't earn as much as Kay and Anna. They earn more than me, so so my paycheck is kind of predictable, if that makes sense, nowadays. But I mean, if you're new, there you go. Anna's best friend, the calculator.
Good
Anna likes.
morning, Anna.
Good morning, Anna. We can't hear you. I think she's muted, moderator.
Good
Anna's there.
morning, everyone. Hi,
Good
it's
morning.
me. I'm your problem. It's me. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm not really usually late.
How was
I had
Tokyo?
fun.
I
I had
thought you flew
fun.
in from Tokyo. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you gotta shake it up. I up my budget plan if you know concert and Taylor Swift. Hi,
Right,
Nurse
right.
A. Hi, good morning, Nurse Paul.
Good morning,
Hello,
Nurse
Good
Anna.
everyone.
morning. Good morning from Eris. What's going on?
No one's wanna talk about money, 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 but we all
I
need to
know.
know that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very uncomfortable talk with a lot of our
Hmm.
countrymen because this is not something that we usually talk. They always say leave it to the professionals to do it. But as a parent, for me, I think I should be the CFO of my family, right? So I have to know
Right.
this as a mom. I think I have kids.
Chief
I have to be
Finance
budgeting
Officer.
it. Yeah, I'm the chief financial officer of my family and the success of my family is in my hands. So I think I should
Right.
really know how to do this. It's not like, okay, the success of your health is according to your doctor. That's not how it is.
Mm-mm.
The success
Right.
of your health is you. If you, what are you doing, right? The doctors are there to support you and guide you. So for me, I think the professionals are tools for your success, but they shouldn't be dictating your success.
Correct. Correct.
Right?
And
And
uh, yep.
We're
Um,
waiting
yeah,
for
I
the
know.
answer.
And while we're waiting for what we're going to say next, I would like to acknowledge some of our viewers. Madel is here. Hi, Madel. She's in UK. Donna, where you are at again? These are my students. They already passed. Alice, hello.
Yay.
These are my NCLEX passers. But thank you for joining us today, Jorley is one of our avid viewer. Thank you for joining us every week. He's in Qatar. Does Qatar have taxes, or are you guys tax free there? Because our Middle East folks, they don't pay taxes. So when they're
Yes.
promised that they earn this much, they're gonna get 100% of it.
Mm-hmm.
In the States, they're usually promised, this is your contract. You're gonna earn $80,000 a year, and
Correct.
then they end up getting 40 in a year. So that kind of messes it up for them. So one of the realities that me and Kay were talking about earlier, for the recruiters to be upfront that there are
Mm-hmm.
taxes involved. I guess recruiters should also start sharing paycheckcity.com. It's free, you know what I mean? We're not even advertising it. We're not paycheckcity.com ambassadors, but I think it's a helpful tool to give the person an overview how much they're going to earn per paycheck, right? Because
yeah.
again, budgeting starts with identifying with your income. You don't know your income, then you can't budget because your money would revolve in how much you earn, right?
Mm. Well, of course, the agency will not really share that, because
Yeah.
the nurse will realize that because when you're new immigrant, you receive wow dollars per hour, woohoo!
Convert it to
Well, that,
Philippine
well,
peso.
that one too. Yes, that one. Because now, over inflating a number is the
Mm,
best tool in marketing. If you overemphasize or if you overinflate something and it sounds too good, so these people will be enticed to do that. But if you actually show them side by side comparison, then that's one thing that people might not, oh, this might not be good for me or this is lower to me. So this is actually intentionally withheld from a lot of our immigrant nurses because, again, it might destroy the marketing strategy that they're doing. And there's also one more thing, Anna, that a lot of these people are withholding this information because they don't want to be in the liability of informing these nurses wrong information or inaccurate information. I think that's one of the main thing why a lot of even ethical recruiters would be hesitant to discuss this, primarily because they don't want to be liable for any incorrect or wrong number representation that they can be sued for. So for an example, hey, you said you told me I'm gonna get 1,200, but after taxes it showed me
It's like 600.
1,100, yeah, or 600. So then they might be prone or high risk for lawsuit also for false marketing. So I
Right.
think they're or wrong misrepresentation that you're not a financial, you're not a tax expert, so why are you saying that thing? So I think they're trying to also to be try on a safe side at one point, but I would say majority of the unethical recruiters will never show you this because they don't want you to see the reality.
Yeah, that's why I'm showing Paycheck City on my TikTok this week. It's already lined up. I'm gonna show you guys how to use that paycheck calculator. I think that's a pretty good tool. But yeah, start with your income. Like identify how much you want to earn, right? And from there, go from there if you want to pick up overtimes. Um, overtimes can be a tool to get you faster to where you want to go. In the sense that it puts more money to your pocket. So temporarily, of course, we're not encouraging everybody to work overtime because poor nursing care is associated with fatigue and exhaustion, right? But sometimes you would need to do it because you have a large expense coming up. So then again, it all boils down to how much income you have, right? If you know your income, then you can budget from there. So if you think, oh, hold on, I have a large expense coming up because now I'm a new homeowner and I have to pay for my landscaping for $3,000. Well, let me pick up 4 extra shift to pay for that, something like that. But so it won't touch your savings. But again, you will know these things if you're budgeting. If you're not budgeting, then it'll be hard to like figure out where to get the money if you have large expenses, something like that. What do you guys think?
Absolutely, Paul. I don't definitely agree with you. You have to be very, very careful with these numbers and overestimating. I always tell people if you have differentials, I personally don't recommend computing the differentials either because sometimes you might be rotated in the morning and you don't have differential, there's no night shift differential. Sometimes you're not going to be working on holidays. Sometimes you're not going to be working as a charge nurse. So there might be no differential. So I recommend people computing on base, according to the base. Now, if you have bonus, sign-in bonus, should this be computed, in your budget? The answer for me is yes. So if you have, example, a $10,000 bonus that has a 2-year requirement, again, 10,000 bonus that has a 2-year requirement to stay on that job, I recommend you including that in the budget because that is going to be part of your income regardless if you're morning shift, if you're evening shift, if you have education differentials or not, because that's going to be, attached to you as long as you're working in that facility or that employer. So if you have $10,000 bonus and you will have to have 2 years commitment requirement for that. So I recommend that doing $10,000 divided by 2 years. So that's going to be $5,000 a year. Okay,
Yeah.
so include that budget in your income.
But
But yeah,
in my experience with sign-on bonuses, I think the way they do it is you get I'm not sure, but I've seen 4 hospitals do this same algorithm where you get 25% on the first 30 days, another 25% on the next 90 days, and the last 50% after 1 year or 2 years, something like that. So it might come in trenches too. Ask them how you get the disbursements for the sign-on bonus. Is it a monthly thing? Is it by trenches? That way you know when it's gonna come in. So you're gonna have to watch out with your paycheck. And also, I guess it's also this is an underrated comment, and I'm not sure if many people know this, but check your paycheck because paycheck is not always correct.
Correct. Yes.
Me, Anna,
yeah,
and Kay, we traveled
100%
nurses.
agree that.
We
100.
traveled nursing, so we want to check our paycheck because sometimes agencies can be like, oh, hold on, where's my stipends? I'm supposed to like get
Mhm.
meal and lodging stipend this month. So yeah, and it's always good practice to check your paycheck because paycheck is not always correct. There would always be one, two, or probably more paychecks. I've heard nurses of having issues with paycheck, and when they backtrack, they're underpaid a whole year. Well, you can get that
Yeah.
money back,
Mhm.
but companies, if you don't say something, well, it's money
Well,
for
nothing.
them. So yeah, there's no
Look
bearing for
funny.
them. Yeah, check your paycheck, right?
Use
I
your
think that's a very
highlighter. Highlight it. Paul
and
and May.
Anna likes her hardwares.
Yes.
I save it in my iCloud and highlight it through that.
8 years ago, when I started working in a nursing home, every paycheck I was so happy. Not just because I'm getting paid, because I was tracking my hours of work. Because
Mm-hmm.
in my contract, 5,100 hours only,
Mm-hmm.
slash 3 years. So every paycheck, aside after I check my per hour, my pay, I check my hours. Yes, 2 more hours to go and I'm done with it. So check your
Right.
paycheck. Make sure you are being access. You're having a deduction, or else during tax time you're gonna have an issue with that. Have you guys mentioned about including the budget, the child care, and
No,
uh
no, we're not yet into expenses. But yeah, let's
oh
move on to expenses because there's a lot of. Now let's go to expenses because earlier we talked about income. We start with income.
all the
Like
income?
when I do my spreadsheet, I have a spreadsheet, but I have two tabs, right? The first one is
Yeah,
income, and every time I
and
put a number
expenses.
there, it adds up, and then followed by expenses. So let's now talk about expenses. I think Kay and Anna would have a longer list because they have families. I have puppies
And
and they're not tax deductible. So Anna likes their notebook.
All right, so I'm
of
gonna
course,
share a screen, share a PowerPoint for you guys. So let me
Hmm.
set that
yes,
up.
case
And
number queen.
number queen was sometimes because budgeting needs actual what do you call this one? Act. How do you wait per se? Let me see a
Uh,
screen here.
visual. It's always
Oh,
better to
shit.
see it visually. Yeah.
Yeah, share screen. There you go. I see it now. All right, there you go. Share screen, and you can see here. So we were talking about income earlier, that there's a lot, but we have also
Almost forgotten budgeted. I love the title.
exactly common forgotten budgeted, and here you are budgeting my car insurance, and then my gas, my transportation. I'm budgeting those things that I can see on a monthly recurring. But how about those things that you don't see on a recurring basis in your credit card? Well, the first thing you go really is check what you're paying. So I always use my credit card in majority of my transaction, so I
Same,
can
same.
see and do
Paper
some study
trail.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
every 3 months I try to revisit, and every year I have to readjust my budget. So majority of time, these are the things that we mostly forgot. Surprise gifts, right? Gifts, especially when we travel. Sometimes when we go as foreign immigrants, we tend to go back and to our home countries, and we have so many gifts that to give to other people, and we also spend. So we don't only budget for their airfare, we have to budget for the things that we're gonna give them. We have to budget for any dine out, car
Mhm.
registration, pet care. If your pets get sick, your home maintenance. A lot of people do not realize that, hey, I have to save for the changing of my air condition unit in my house, or a roof. A part of the roof came off, and now I have water all over my house, and now it's going to
Mhm.
cost me about $30,000. Yes, you might have home insurance, but it comes with your home insurance are also your deductibles. So those are the things. Subscriptions. I put it so big because a lot of people, oh, it's just $2, a month, or it's just $3 a month. But actually, if you have so many few subscriptions, I mean, so many subscriptions that is few amount, like $2, $3, $5.
Can add up pretty quickly.
They exactly. There's one time that we didn't realize our subscriptions was actually reaching about $400 a month. I
Hmm.
didn't realize sometimes I overlook. You subscribe for free trial and you forgot to cancel it,
Cancel it.
which is the tactic of all these apps that we're doing, right? So a lot of this will say free trial, but if you don't cancel, we're automatically going to bill it. So this is a big money producing for these companies who are giving free trial because
That should
they're
maybe, yeah, that should be made illegal, but they're still gonna bill you until you cancel it.
yes, so this is actually the things that a lot of people did not realize. So a lot of a lot of programs there who would say free trial, they're betting on your forgetfulness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
They
they
are
know.
betting on that. They know
They
you're gonna
know. They're
forget.
watching us.
That's how they make
Correct.
their money.
Yeah, for the people who forget and very irresponsible like me who forget this
I
gaming
put an
factor.
alarm, Faith. I put an
So
alarm on
yes,
that. Like,
so
for
back.
That's
example,
what,
7 days trials.
yeah,
I
yeah,
subscribe now. The night before 7 days, I put an alarm reminder, and the moment the alarm, oh, cancel it.
Yeah,
yeah.
so
That
it's
that's why
important.
it's best practice to check your expenses weekly, or at least every 2 weeks, or at least a month, at the very least every month. At least the good thing here in the States, though, if you file a complaint, they're gonna return the money, right?
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, you don't check, you don't see it till 2 years later. Well, they might not return that money if it's been too long, because they're gonna say, why are you telling us now, right? But I think best practice is to check your expenses at least every month.
Exactly.
Like Kay said, and I shared earlier, we use credit cards not because we want credit. Filipinos particularly are allergic to credit. When they hear credit, oh, I don't like credit. In the Philippines, it's utang, right? Because we were
Yeah.
told utang is bad, credit is bad. But I mean, for financially savvy and smart people, credit is the way to go because credit card offers so many protection. It's also a good paper trail, right? We're not using credit card to make utang or have credits. We use it and pay for it. Banks don't make money from us. They make money from merchants who are using the card.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's very important to keep track not only because so you know your budget because there's a lot of fraudulent transactions that happen. Um, I've been a victim of fraudulent usage of my credit card, and this
right,
guy
right.
just walked in a very nice store that maxed out, bought like $4,000 bag.
Wow.
I'm like, hey, credit card company, have you ever seen me buy a bag that's $100? I barely buy those things, but yeah, I would get it if
Ouch.
it's a technology, right? If it's a camera, if it's a PC, if it's a laptop. But a bag of a $4,000, I would never buy that unless that is my what do you call it? My what is called the bag that it's like very expensive, like $20,000 each that becomes so much asset. So I said, other than that, I'm not gonna buy those bags that are four
Anna and
thousand.
Paul and Marvin left the group. And
I stayed quiet
wait,
for a bit. I don't want to say something.
Oliver.
I was just gonna say if that happens to me, my card is gonna be like, "Oh, that's him. It's okay. It's normal."
Right? So exactly.
They're
But
not
for
gonna flag it as fraud.
Yes.
yes. So that's the thing
Yep.
there. If there are transactions that are being done beyond your
Yep.
usual, because for me,
Hmm.
that's not my usual. So I have to call my credit card and I said, this is not my
Yep.
transaction, and you guys should have flagged it. So then
Yep.
there is a protection. They brought my money back.
Yeah.
And
Fraud
also
protection.
yeah, so those are the things, and it's you know that you're gonna get your money back anyway, but it's just hassle because now you cannot use your credit card, and you
Mm-hmm.
might have to use put out some debit card now, putting yourself more in a risky situation. So again, I was also a victim of those money being removed from my bank account, savings account, checking account. So that's why you have to look into those things, especially when I was new. I think I was not disposing my files properly, or somehow when I was new, somebody must have scanned or checked my social security or my green card on the mail, and they just went to the store and opened a new account under my name, and I got a bill. So as a new immigrant, this is happening in a lot of what you think, because a lot of these people will on the courier might look into your mail. We have a
Right.
lot of reports that
Which is a
there's
federal offense, by the way. So they're not.
yes.
That's illegal. But the people do it.
Yeah, so because you're a new
Yep.
immigrant, you didn't know what to do,
Yeah.
So
All they
so a lot.
all they need is your social security number, your address, your birthday, and bam, they can open a credit card for you. So protect your personal information, and probably best to also have personal identity insurance. I get that and pay like 200 a year
Yes,
with
me
LifeLock,
too.
and yep, very important. I mean, there's 1 million protection for it, so I think that's a no brainer to pay 200 for 1 million protection.
Absolutely. So now that's gonna fall under subscriptions.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right, so then well, additional here, that's the first thing that we have to do is when you get your paycheck, you have to remove the taxes first. That's the first thing you do. Like Paul said, he uses Paycheck City. I often use Smart Asset. ADP is there
Mm,
as well, and there's other ways that you can use that. Go to Google. The first thing you do when you budget is take out the taxes first, right? And this is an example of how a $40 per 36-hour week, a single person would be in New York City. As you can
are they
see,
really at 40 an hour there?
um, so yes, there are people that are getting paid $40 an hour, unfortunately.
40,
Oh
And
yeah.
yes.
there
Still,
are
Oh,
yep.
still people.
that's the
Yep.
Houston rate.
Yes, so if you are,
Much
I don't want to
cheaper.
hit that, but if you are receiving the $40 an hour, please finish
You're
that
in the low
contract as soon
end.
as possible and
Yeah,
get out as possible.
because Houston
So
is kind of expensive. Mm,
So as you can see on the right side of the picture, you can see the actual take home of a person who's earning $40 a week for 36 weeks. So
mhm,
it's a biweekly. So this will be the 2000 every 2 weeks, and you can see the taxes are being removed there. There's federal tax, there's state tax, and in New York City, you have also local taxes. And we're not even talking about health insurance here yet, right? So now, biweekly net, what you want to do is multiply that by 26 weeks in a year, because there's going to be 26 paycheck in a year. So that will end up having 54,000,
instead
ev-
of 80,000 something. Yeah.
exactly. So there's a big difference after the taxes. So please
Right.
compute it based from the net, and you have to get it if you want to get your monthly. You have to get your annual, and I don't recommend you multiplying every 2 weeks times two for monthly, because it's not going to create an accurate number. So again, do it by 26 paychecks a year and
Mhm.
divide that number into 12 months, so that way you will see how much is really your money every month. Okay, so this
Right.
is base. As I said to Paul, I don't want to add overtime here. I don't want to add additional differentials, because I
Hmm.
want people
It
to,
fluctuates. Yeah.
yeah, I want people to understand that your base salary should pay for your basic necessities. If
Right.
you have luxury, you should not be using your base salary to pay for luxury. I think you should be using your extra effort to pay for your luxury. That's how I see it. So that's my slides there. So again, for me, the thing that will motivate me to do extra work is if I have luxury that I want to do
Yeah.
beyond my basic needs. If I
Right.
want to buy a new
Buy a
house,
Louis Vuitton. Oh,
yes,
Probably comfort,
overtime.
Taylor Swift.
4,000, right? So anything that you value in the most, that's why I say people,
Hmm.
don't compare yourself from somebody working hard 60 hours a week. Maybe that person have a strong goal that is
Yeah.
beyond his basic needs.
Yep.
And that is totally fine. Totally,
Right.
absolutely fine. If I want to
Right.
retire young, that's a luxury, because
Right.
majority of us will retire at 65,
Yeah.
according to Uncle
I
Sam.
remember during COVID, Kay, I shared that I was working 60, 72 hours because I was part of the
Yes.
COVID
Yeah.
response in Texas, right? And in the group, they said, "Oh, you're not supposed to work that way." We have the moral checkers, and they're gonna say, "Oh, you're more likely to make a mistake. You're gonna kill a patient." All the mockery, right? But I mean, I'm a nurse for 15 years. I know my limits, you know what I mean? So I picked my fights to cut it short. But what they didn't know is I was doing that because I was trying to save money for my mom, all right, for my house. So now that I have the house, I feel fulfilled. I only did it for less than a year in total because I have breaks in between anyway. But the point is, I know my limits. Nobody could tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I know my scope of practice. I know my professional limits. I know if I'm more likely to make a mistake or not and not work. Or I also know my financial goals. So do not let
Mhm.
anyone decide it for you. Your financial goals is yours, not your
Yeah.
insurance agent. I'm sorry, not your other friend. It's yours. So
That's my kind of thing.
Oh,
charge, take charge of
When you're
your
gonna have my
own.
thought.
okay.
But how about
No, no, but that's the truth because people are like, no, I don't know how to budget. Yeah, can you help me budget? And they're like, if you put $500 in your insurance, then you get a cash value. Guys, no, I'm just kidding. But the point is, take charge of your own finances, right? Know your income. And now we're talking about expenses. Know your expenses because expenses can also be at individual level. Are you that person with um, very young kids, that need childcare, like Anna was saying earlier? Are you that person that has a lot of subscriptions because those subscriptions are important to you, right? Like your Netflix shows or something like that. But subscriptions can be many things too. But also take into consideration your regular expenses that everybody pays for. For example, your utilities, right? With me at the top of my head, I know my utilities. I know my mortgage. I know my utilities. I have an upper limit. I have a lower limit. If my upper limit, my utilities, I check my electricity weekly, right? I can check the usage and I know if I'm going to go overboard. Like last summer, because of the extreme heat in Texas, we thought we were. I don't know how close we were to the sun, but it really felt like the sun was just in the neighborhood. My electricity went up to 400, $500, 400 something. All right, that's not
That's
my usual.
normal
My
in New
usual is
York.
no, that's not my usual. My usual is 150 to $200. Now it's like 180 because it's 10 cents per kilowatt here in Texas, guys. So, but you know what I mean because I know my budget. I know if it's reaching beyond that, right? At the top of my head, I know how much I'm paying for the phone,
Mhm.
for the water, for the something like that. But utilities, mortgage or rent, especially if you're a homeowner, your mortgage, you need to pay that because they're gonna put a lien on your house if you don't. Pretty strict here. They're gonna lock you up. So mortgage, utilities. What else? A car. Transportation. If you're in New York, you might need trains, right? If you're not in New York City or LA, you need a car. You have car payments monthly, all right? And they're gonna get your car if you miss one or two payments, all right? So car payments, insurances, all right? This is out of pocket. This is not your health insurance. You need car
Mhm.
insurance, all right? And I've seen a post recently, oh, I'm only paying for $70 for car insurance. I would like to see the details of the insurance because what if that's only comprehensive, right? What if you kill somebody or knock on wood? What if somebody gets into an injury because you hit them, you rear-ended them? That person can sue you. So check your insurance coverage as well, okay? So we're going to talk about that in another topic. But check your insurance coverage because you're not only paying for comprehensive. If you damage a property, that insurance should cover it. But car insurance. What else? What am I missing? I mean, I have a.
There,
This is
there's
I think
there.
this is a country of insurance, okay? Because I have
Yes.
identity insurance, indemnity insurance, professional insurance, travel insurance,
Even your
business
dogs have
insurance.
insurance.
My dogs have insurance. My NP license
Malpractice
has
insurance.
insurance. Right. Exactly. So many insurance. I'm probably paying $1,000 a month for
Oh, you can also
insurances.
insure your part of your body. You know, you're so
That what?
smart. Why don't you insure your brain? Part of your body, like Jennifer Lopez.
Like celebrities.
Yes,
Yes,
she
actually
insured her
you.
legs.
Yes.
I
So
think that's expensive. No, I'm totally fine. I think that sounds expensive.
so I'm gonna share you that screen that like Paul mentioned, and how about you and me, Anna? We'll talk about this if we do it,
Woohoo.
right? So you and me. So
I
this is
Yes.
love
an
that. I
example of
love
my
that.
monthly budget. So as you can
Spreadsheet
see,
lovers. Hello.
Excel,
great
right? So
great minds think alike.
monthly budget. So we talked about we talk about how to compute your monthly income. So this is where you're gonna put it, right? So Paul, I don't know if you have the similar, but it's so funny that I put here. You can see husband income,
As
right?
part
I
of
mean,
income.
yeah, I mean, I'm not budgeting. I'm not budgeting him that didn't put giving him money, right? So, as a household, you're gonna have to add all your household income. As for me,
Mhm.
me and my husband works together. So you have to account your spouse income as well.
That's true.
Gifts received, if you have family who are very generous to give you like their heirs. The only thing that I inherited from my dad was cholesterol and high blood sugar. So
Same,
that's not
same. Diabetes.
that's that's not gonna add in here. Okay, so this is an example. Income from your rental properties, right, Paul? And your business extra side gigs are also counted
Mhm.
as your income. And like Paul said, he's an example of what we pay for in the United States. What's that, $400, Paul? Do you want to try this, Paul? You want to try it out? Let's do a sample, or do we have time for it? Or it's 10 o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
we can. Yeah, yeah, let's do a simulation.
Oh,
Say, for
simulation.
example,
All right. So a
for
monthly, like let's say you want to say 5,000,
yeah, 5,000 monthly.
5,000 monthly. All right. So you
Yeah.
can see that it's already what do you call this? So sorry. I took this differences off earlier because I always put the actual. Right. So there. So if I'm really actually getting into 5,000, that's good, right? So what is rent, Paul? Let's say.
Uh, New York or Houston?
No, for you, let's say in
Oh,
Texas.
for me, here in Texas, it's say 1,500 in Houston, inside
1,500.
the
How
city,
many
outside
bedroom
the
is
city.
that?
Okay.
One, but that's inside the city.
Okay, so let's say
Out,
1,500, right? And then
mm,
you said actually is 1,500, right?
yeah.
But then I forgot to budget for electricity. What was
Well,
electricity?
when I was in my apartment, about $80 because it's a seven
$80,
hundred
right?
square foot. Yeah, yeah.
What if I forgot to pay for the what do you call this one, for the gas also and oil, right?
Gas is like $20 minimum.
$20. Oh, look at that. So I think I all right, $20. Forgot to put that in. All right. And then what else?
Oh, why did we put 20 for electricity?
Oh, 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 how much was electricity? Said 80?
80. Yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so I forgot to put money for the water. I forgot to
yeah.
budget. How much was that?
Water. How much is water? Probably
Oh, in
20 or
Texas,
30.
you guys are expensive. You
30,
guys have
30.
no water. Right? What if I forget to pay for budget for my cell phone?
My phone. My phone is like 70 a month.
70 a month, right? 70 a month. I
Right.
forgot. What if I forgot to budget for my maintenance? Something broke in the house. I need to
Oh
replace
my
it.
god.
Oh, well, I'd honestly put $100 budget there for a month,
Yeah,
just in
right.
case.
What if I forgot to put something spilled in the house? I need to buy a new vacuum, or new things.
Oh, I'm okay. I have my Dyson. I'm just
Oh,
if appliances, oh, 100 a month just for a
right.
buffer, because you want to accumulate that money. It's a buffer, right?
Yeah,
If you
because
don't
what
use
if
it,
exactly? What if you forgot to buy for a replacement of your new vacuum or your
yeah,
new tire? If you just
exactly.
forgot, you
Oh,
have a
tires are expensive. Yep.
oh yeah. So let's just
I
say
just
100.
replaced mine for $2,000.
What if I but for groceries? How much is the groceries? You do have money.
Oh, groceries. High protein food are expensive. So let's say 700 a month.
700
And
a month. Right?
that's just me because
Okay.
protein shakes are expensive.
Oh, but I forgot to actually I forgot to budget for my dine in and dine out. How much
Uh-oh.
do
Oh
I
my
go
god.
out
I
every
am more
week?
for
Oh
that.
no. 500.
Right? 500. You forgot. Oh, I forgot to budget for my dine in and dine out. I go out all the time with my friends, and those little $70 here and there every
Right.
week adds up to $500.
Right. Right.
Oh, I have children. Let's say you have children, right? I forgot to budget for that diaper. A diaper is almost $1 probably right now, right? So this is a possibility. Sorry. Now we're not even talking about, for me. There's one big budget that I had to pay for, because my kids were playing in the school with other
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So the child got hurt within the school facility. Yes, it can be under the school facility, but the other child got hurt. It was an accident that they're playing together, and now the child needs some dental treatment because of that incident, you know. But it was an accident, but it's just my child was there playing with that kid. He's not like intentionally hurt him, but it was just an accidental that happened that they were playing. And now instead of going to the, fighting this them with the school, I told them, I if I was in your position, I would definitely feel bad either too. So if you want, I will help you with the cost for the medical cost, so you don't have to fight with the school regarding that. As a mother, sometimes you just tend to be what's best for our children and try to put myself in the shoes. So I was paying $80 a month. So those
Wow.
things can happen if you
Right. It's
have
called
kids.
I call them incidental expenses. Those expenses that you do not expect, but suddenly, you have to pay for something. So you gotta have budget for incidentals as well. It's a lot, huh? Now
Yes,
you realize the 5,000 is not 5,000 at all.
exactly. So if you have kids, or let's say if you have pets, and then somebody came to
Oh,
your
that
house
feeling,
and
that feeling.
She's
right,
$50 a month for insurance,
right,
and vet is like 50 to 100 a month, and grooming.
I
right.
learned how to groom. I've learned how to groom. So it
Yep,
Those are
pays me eighty
expensive.
150.
dollars.
Oh, where's the pet? I think I put here pet. Where is that? Pet, 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 pet. Okay, pet food, Paul.
Oh
How's
my
your
God,
pet food?
expensive. Well, about how much do these puppies eat? About I'd say 200 a month, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
200 a month, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 200 a month, right?
Yes, yes.
And
We
Same
should
here.
have dog tax deduction, dog
Yes.
oh,
care, dog tax
Oh, yes.
deduction.
right? And then the medical insurance that you're paying for your pet.
Oh,
How much is
50 a
that?
month times two.
50 a
Yes.
month times
Same
two
here.
times two, so the 100, right? And then
Yes.
it comes like, oh, Christmas, I'd like to decorate my dog some nice
So, right, come
some
here.
nice toys, right? So you buy
No,
consistently this toys, there's
Paul
pets,
loves
Dollar
Halloween.
Dollar Tree, or Ross Dress for Less.
right?
Wait,
They
Sometimes you even have
I'll
to
just
pay
my
that.
dog.
Yeah, probably about $20 every month towards the end of the year. That accumulated to hundreds already, right? How about you went home and every year you travel? Do we? How much was that, Paul, that you budget for your travel every year?
so we're trying.
That is a lot.
This will be negative. This
So,
this salary does not support my lifestyle. Well, the $5,000 will not support. Let's say 500 I put like 200 to 500 a month for
yeah,
buffer for travels.
yeah, because you spend how many times in a year? How many times do you go out of the country a year? Like twice or three
At
times?
least three.
Three times.
No,
Okay, so for
four.
the yeah. But again, we calculated this based from Paul's income that is actually on a little above
And then we
average.
realized that the $5,000 is not enough, right?
Okay. Let's just say
Hey, don't
$500.
forget about the dog's daycare whenever Paul leaves the country.
Oh yes,
Yes.
how much is that daycare? So we're gonna have to
Boarding.
put that
Boarding is like how much? 60 a
Yeah,
day?
burger. Yeah.
60 a day. So how often times three, right?
Yeah. I think
Twice.
I should work with puppies now because there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money with that.
Yeah, doing business on that. So probably times three, right? So let's say 20, 60 a month, or I don't know how much a month. So this is going to translate into hundreds as well, right? So
Yep.
in a year.
So
So
yep.
now we didn't even talk about lodging yet, or food or rental. How about the
Yep.
pasalubong or the gifts for your family, right? So the gifts on Christmas. How about Christmas gifts?
Oh God. I'm allergic to Christmas. It's so
Me
expensive
too.
during December.
We tend to give gifts, and this is one thing that we always forget to add in our budget.
That's true.
Yes,
And
you're
you
right.
probably it can be easily, if you belong from a big family, it can be easily spending $2,000 in a year, a
Exactly.
thousand, $1,000 in a year. So I'll put here. So let's say 12. Even if I just put $100, right?
A month.
Even if
Yeah.
a month, right? So you can see already that the actual here is so far from the budget.
You're
Yeah.
right.
So
Negative.
sorry. Just pay attention to this actual because this is where we want to do. Sorry. Oh, sorry. As you can see, the total expense is still on the positive, but we're not
Hey,
even
how
talking
about the
about.
money sending back home?
Sorry.
Like you send
Oh,
money for your
okay, I think you
company.
should. Okay, I think you should put it as a positive
A
instead
what?
of
Sorry.
negative.
Oh, sorry.
You
I
should.
think I messed up my calculator this earlier
Yeah.
because I said I think I must have erased something. But anyway, um, you can see here the net already. Um, Something's off with my calculator. It's really
No,
off.
I
But
think you
anyway,
should put positive integers in the actual because it's already gonna deduct the formula or
Yeah.
whatever. But
oh, you know what? It looks like I erased by accident the difference here because the difference is not
right.
kicking in. All right. So, but anyway, as you can see, Paul has already accumulated so much, more than already. So I'm sorry
Mm,
about this calculator that I pulled out, but there's going to be one online. I'm just going to adjust this and fix it. But you can see here those things that we spend for. We're not even talking about vehicle payment. We're
Yeah.
not even
right.
talking about medical and cost. We're not talking about retirement yet. So there are so many things. This will give you an example of what are the things that we're paying. We're not even paying for health insurance and home insurance.
Mm,
We're not even paying for the ACLS renewal or the BLS renewal or the
Mm-hmm.
license endorsement, or the continuing education that we have to pay for if the hospital
Yes.
or doesn't pay for. So there
right.
are so many things that we still have not accounted, and yet we are coming already with thousands of dollars that we put on, right? So again, this is an example of what we pay. Parent, padala sa bahay, padala. So legal fees, and we didn't even account for taxes yet.
Right.
So there are things that this is an example budget. I'm sorry that is throwing off my calculator. I made some mistake with the numbers earlier with the formula. I'm gonna have to reset this because I think I must have clicked something earlier. So, but anyway, as you can see, you have to you have to compute the actual and then on the versus the budgeted, and then on the next month, like Paul said, or every month you check your expenses. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that your actual is meeting your expenses. Your actual expenses meeting your actual income, because
Right.
if not, it's gonna throw you off so much.
Oh
Right.
And
yeah.
right, so this
There's
is
also like I like to use apps. I'm an app person because everything is in my phone. But I use Mint, but I think Mint is closing already.
We're
But
close.
credit
No more mint.
credit yeah, Credit Karma is also good. They're free. That's why we use credit cards as well because, like I said, paper trail. Those apps can give you an overview of how much you're spending per category. Because most of the what's this regular expenses here, like food, meals, they get categorized automatically by banks already. So the app will
yeah.
accumulate
Mm-hmm.
that and will say, you know what, this month you've spent $1,000 for food, right? And you probably need another $1,000 for semaglutide because you've gained 50 pounds from those. I'm just kidding. No, and no, it gives you a good overview of where your money is going to. All right, but I think budgeting is let's say one of the key things that we really need to learn because until we have a budget, until we can get down to these numbers, it will be really hard to manage your finances
Oh,
because you can be good morning.
she just woke up the bed.
You
Good
can be
morning,
over.
just woke up the bed. She came from me in New York, so she was a party animal too, like me.
Hi,
Good
Robbie.
morning.
I'm
She just
here.
literally got
You
off
want to
the bed.
visit me in Texas
You know,
again?
see, this is how it's like. This is how I wake up.
Oh, I know.
All right,
Woke up like this.
I woke up like this. This is my hair. This is my bedroom. Okay.
All
Robin,
right.
let me borrow your mom. We're back on here.
Yeah, but let's see these questions right here. Any trusted in extreme heat? Jorley said it's 52 degrees. What is 52 degrees in Celsius? Because the highest here in Texas during the heat was like 110. Convert 52 degrees to Fahrenheit.
Oh, look at that theory. Very
125. 125. Wow. Wow, I'd be having heat stroke. Um,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
not
they said
going
in
there.
Qatar. My friends are in Qatar. They said, "Hey, you don't want to visit here because there's
yeah,
one time that, oh, the FIFA, right? The football was there
mhm,
one time,
yeah,
and it was just before those times. They said, "Can I go there?" I said, "It's very hot here, Kate. Don't you don't want to
yeah.
go out?" Like I
Right,
said, "Oh,
right. And then said every trusted insurance company depends on what type of insurance. I
You
got
have
plenty.
to go clean.
Health insurance is usually provided by your employer, all right? And it's usually taken out from your gross. So like we said, when you
yeah,
budget, start from your net, not your gross. With your gross, you take out everything, health insurance, some benefits like
yeah,
critical illness expense. You can also put pet in there, 401ks or retirement funds. And Jorley also said, how much is a double room apartment in San Antonio? I do not know the ballpark. I know San Antonio is a lot cheaper than Houston. And the 1,500 rent earlier, that was my rent, but I'm inside the city in a nice part of town. And I pick up overtime to pay that back
yes,
then during the full-time nursing. But I was travel nursing before, so it didn't matter. But apartment.com, thank you, Kay, for sharing that.
yeah, Jorly, there you can
Apartments.com,
look at that.
there you go.
Yeah,
You at least it may not be as accurate, but you can have a ballpark of what are
yeah,
the ranges going for. And you do not only check for cost, okay? You check the neighborhood as well because you may be looking at, oh, I like this $700 for two bedroom, but it might be a 1950s housing. Uh, you might be in a not nice part of town or the crime rates are high. It's just like any big city, all right? The crime rates are high in big cities, period, right? And that's it. Zillow.com is also a good um, app to check for, but there's apps everywhere in the US, all right? Or for whatever you need, there's app for everything. Gym, yeah, gym, we did not add that. It's like 20 to $30 a month. I'm cheap. I do
Yes.
24-hour fitness. Some people like to pay $250 a month for their gym and then just take TikToks all the time
Yep.
in the gym.
mhm.
Well, gym is gym. Whether you pay $5 or $10, if you're there to work out, you're there to work out, not to look cute.
Exactly.
You know, I'm paying for
Get a
two gyms.
tan.
Yeah, I'm paying for two gyms that I have not visited for a while.
Really?
And I even
That
well, you know,
that subscription.
Yep.
me, I need to go back. You and me, all of us tonight.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go back to
So
our
now
No,
gyms.
let's
I'm
start
okay.
today.
I'm okay here.
It's
I have
it's
my
it's
dog.
the
We always
it's the
walk.
Chinese New Year. It's the
Yeah, so
Chinese New Year.
yeah, so
That should
if
be
I didn't get to start it last January, hey, it's still New Year today, so let's start a new life today. So
right.
I am
Right.
personally going back to my accounts tonight because I realized that I wasn't able to cancel my gym subscription on the other
Yeah.
one, and it
Same,
has a
same.
personal trainer. So there is a gym
Oh,
subscription and there is a monthly personal trainer
Oh,
that is
really?
still on top of that. So I
yeah.
did not I did not realize because we were moving, so I totally miss some of those, like me, even I've been here for many years and been teaching this, there are things that I also miss that nobody's
True.
perfect.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Jorley is also asking about bodybuilding supplements. Jorley, that's bodybuilding supplements are expensive. Okay, so
It is. Yep.
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And Rainier is asking, hello, Rainier. Is one of our members in Lefora, always active. Great template. Can members download this Excel template, please? Okay, is this for
yes, let
sale?
me
Is this for free?
no, it's for free. So let me just fix because I was editing somebody's template earlier because I do this. I help a lot of nurses come to me and they said, "Can you help me budget?" Because I'm really poor with math. So I do this on my side as as a professional mentor for nurses. So I help them do this budget. But let me fix because this is not my real template. This is just I adjusted some things earlier and I
Mm.
might have erased something. You know, when you
Right, right.
slept, when you sleep at
Yeah,
4
there's
a.m. and then you wake
formulas
up
in
and
there.
yeah, so the
Yeah,
formula might have accidentally erased earlier. When you have 4 hours of sleep, again, party too hard and you can make mistakes, so
yeah.
don't do
Right,
that.
right,
So let me fix that and I will put that I put it in my travel nurse hacker so everybody can use
right.
it. Okay?
Okay, I got a question. Is your mortgage expensive in Houston? So the mortgage will depend on how much the mortgage fee will depend on how much
Down
the house
payment.
you bought for, right? So it
Yeah.
depends on it's many factors, closing fees and all that. So it depends on how much house you bought for. Like for example, if you bought a $300,000 house, $200,000 house, then definitely the mortgage is much lower. Okay, so in Houston, we have much bigger house compared to other cities, big cities, just because it's lower cost of living here, right? But also cost of living is equivalent to pay. So for example, in California, you have 100 per hour. We're not gonna get that in Houston unless you're travel nursing, right? Or you're in an in-demand field. You're gonna get 40, 50 an hour here in Houston, right? But that's because of cost of living changes. So with me, I think my mortgage is comparable to my earnings. I earn a little more than nurses because I'm doing NP now, and it's better for my mental health, by the way, because ER gets crazy sometimes. But overall, that I pay, including escrow in a month, is $3,000. Now, 1,200, 1,500, I think, goes to mortgage. That's a mortgage, but that's not all the expenses. So I just bundle them together. So in my spreadsheet, it's just one mortgage and escrow. Escrow is property taxes. So Texas has one of the highest property taxes because we don't have sales tax. But people are like, Texas, oh my God, so many property tax. But guys, I only paid 7,000 property tax this year, right? Only, I'm saying only because if I was in another state, I would pay state tax and sales tax altogether. That's gonna be more than 7,000 for sure. But so property tax. What else is part of escrow?
Here, I'll
Um,
show you the screen on the side,
Yeah.
moderator.
Mortgage insurance if you have that. Uh,
Let's show example
it's
of a
it's a
cost.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you buy a house, when you sell a house, this is what Paul was saying. No, Anna
It's
also
escrow.
just
Yeah.
so this is what can go to your payment. No,
Mm-hmm.
appraisal fee, inspection, buyer's agent fees, credit
Mm-hmm.
report, all this can go into
And
your
lawyer,
account.
don't forget your lawyer. It must have a lawyer.
Depends on the state, Anna. Here in the Texas, we don't need lawyer, but we need title
Oh,
companies.
okay. But
We pay
in
we
here.
pay for part of the closing cost is title insurance,
Mm-hmm.
which means I mean they have lawyers too, but it doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
lawyer. It's a title something like that. But yes, why do we need lawyers, Anna? Because they're actually verifying that the
Yep.
property that you're buying is the one who's selling it to you is the rightful owner. Because you
Mm-hmm.
might buy the house and 10 years later, a
Someone will
next
come
of
in.
kin will say, I actually inherited this property from my
Yeah.
great grandfather, so they investigate that for you. You pay for them. I think during my closing, my title insurance was like 2,500,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
but the
Oh
seller
yeah, mine is
shouldered it.
expensive too. Yeah, when I bought it,
Yeah,
I put in
it is
the chat.
expensive. Yeah.
I put in the chat. By the way, the rent when we were renting that house one time, we were paying 3,500 a month, and then we
Hmm.
decided to buy it. Because the rents are going up, so we decided to buy that property. And when we look at, we put 20% down payment, so our mortgage was accounting actually 2,000 per month, but the property tax was 1,000 a month. Right? So when
Mm.
you look at the property house, you don't just look at the cost of the house. You're gonna have to look
Exactly.
for the trailing expenses that comes with
Right.
that house. Like the picture that I showed you here, you don't just save for down payment. You have to
Mm,
save for those closing costs that
Yep.
will
closing
come with it.
costs. Yeah,
So
it
And
as you
can
can
moving
add up
see,
cost.
pretty about
Appraisal.
10,000 at the very least.
Yeah.
yeah, so the closing cost that we have was around close to
Yeah,
$14,000.
that's
Like you
on
said,
top of your down payment. On
Yep.
top
yep,
of the down payment.
that's on top of the down payment. Of course, it depends on the price of the house. The higher the price
Mm-hmm.
that you go, then the higher
Nah,
this cost will come. So as you can
yes.
see, this an example. It says there this is a $300,000 house. I don't know where it was, but this is just an
I was
example.
about to ask you, where is that place?
Yeah, probably in South
That's
Dakota.
so cheap.
When we arrived here like almost 20 years ago, right? So it was only the house is, if you have $350,000 house, that is already a lot of money. So,
Yes.
and for us nurses, when I was looking for those properties, I can still see like $300,000, Anna, would you believe this?
Mm-hmm.
$300,000 condo in New York. a studio
Wow.
condo in Manhattan. Okay,
Yeah.
Manhattan. Now you will not see a studio like that anymore.
No.
So
It's a
you can see a
million.
studio can be like 600, 800,000. So it duplicated the price of the
Studio,
real
wow,
estate.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
just a
more
studio,
expensive than my house.
right? And but the salary of the nurses did not duplicate. So that's why I would
Exactly.
recommend
Sad
everybody
story.
coming to the United States right now to be really, really understanding how to budget this money, because when we
Yes.
arrived, our salary did not duplicate, but the expenses
Right.
right now in the United States duplicated. So the people that you are seeing right now, who probably in the United States 20 years ago, they were able to achieve this level of status. You might not be able to achieve the same financial status because of the inflation that happened in the United States. And this is where your knowledge and budgeting will come in, so you can catch up with that. There's
Right.
no race here. But I'm just saying, if you're comparing yourself, oh, I'm coming to the United States, I'm going to work as a nurse because my auntie, my uncle was able to buy a yacht.
Right.
That might not happen, not right now, because
Yeah.
the salary
Inflation too.
not the
Yeah.
same as right now. And the cost
And
of living is
And
very important.
just a reminder for those who are going to plan to buy a condominium or townhouses, also include the HOA in your
HOA, yes.
budget on top
Minus,
of your
yep,
mortgage.
minus 200 a month.
Yes. Even if you pay up the house or the
Right?
townhouse or the condo, you will have to pay the HOA. So think
And
about it. Buying a house versus townhouse or condominium. Of course,
yeah.
there are pros and cons, but always include in the budget.
And
So
if
you're not
also
gonna get caught up. Yep.
sometimes it's, first 3 years here in the States, I rented because I wasn't ready to buy a
Mhm.
house. And that's totally fine. If you need to rent, you need to rent. The good thing with renting is if something's wrong with your apartment, they take care of it,
Oh,
not you. With your house, you own the house, your
yes.
house earns equity, right? But incidentals, during the heat followed by the freeze here in Texas because of Wild Wild West, right? My whole grass, my landscape in the back was so pretty for 2 years. It died. So there was no
Oh,
reason for my grass to recover. It was all muddy there, and of course my puppies love the mud. So just last week I have an artificial turf place. It's, guess what, $3,500, guys. That's
ah,
incidental expense. So it's also difficult to have a house. Something falls off, it's
yep.
gonna be out of your pocket, right? But I mean, it's earning equity. And
Yes.
for Nori, her question is she wants to move from Arkansas to Texas. I think you should, because Arkansas doesn't pay much. But no,
That
um,
was my first job actually. They offered me, the recruiter said, if you want to go to Arkansas, or the
it's
option
like
was
Florida,
Arkansas.
Mississippi, Arkansas.
No, there's
They're
nothing wrong with Arkansas, but
$20, I
the
think.
option, yeah, the
Oh,
option that was
Alaska.
right.
It's Alaska,
Oh, is
actually.
it? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
Oh
you
my
feel
I'm
God,
sorry.
really
That
both
was
of
so
you
embarrassing.
became
I'm
a
not.
U.S. citizen and you go, no.
That
Oh
was
my
so
God.
embarrassing. But how much are you getting paid in Alaska? But I think Alaska pays good for travels. All right, they have travel NPs and travel nurses there. Um, but yeah. Anyway, here in Houston, I live in the city. I'm 5 minutes away from Jollibee and Medical
Yes.
Center, so I'm inside the loop. I'm in the city, so it's kind of a little pricey. If you go outside the city, like in the burbs, we call them the burbs. It's much cheaper for sure. So stick to your budget. Like that's the main topic for today, right? If you know your budget, then you know your purchasing power for
Yeah.
house, for car. You don't want to buy a Mercedes Benz $100,000 on your first month in the States because you think you can
Correct.
pay for it. But goodness gracious, your car breaks down. There's maintenance fees and incidental. So your purchasing power depends on your budget. Without a budget, then you're in the, like you do not have a guide of what to spend, how to spend, where to spend your money. So that's why we're talking about budgeting, because I think many nurses are not aware about the importance of budgeting.
Budget is the permission to spend. you put a name on that number, right?
Right.
So I know it's difficult when you're starting, like 8 years ago when I arrived here, I'm the only one working. Ryan
Right.
hasn't
Right.
done the NCLEX yet. And on top of that, I have to send money back home because I'm the only child. Both of my parents are both sick leave. So I work a lot too, like 60 hours, 70 hours in a week. On top of that, while I was working a lot, I'm also finishing up my contract earlier. So guys, let me ask you, you are using Excel, right? In your budget. Me, I love papers and I also love Excel. And my pen.
Because in Excel you can put formula and I just encode the numbers.
I know, but
If you
I
have the
love
right
to highlight.
formula. If you have the
So
right formula, right? So we're gonna
if
pick
you
that.
have the right formula. But you're correct. There's so many insurance here. Like I'm not gonna deny it. 70% or mostly for my insurance from healthcare gone to my dog's insurance. So what I did was I have 4 debit cards and I have 2 credit cards. I have one debit card for expenses only. I have one debit card for bills only, and then one debit card for emergency fund slash sinking fund, and the credit card. Oh, by the way, I have 6. My dogs, they have their own debit account. Every payday, oh, I told you to do it. Now you have proof. Every payday, I always
Dog
put in
fund.
there. Yes. So if ever we're going away or something happens, aside from their insurance, they have their own money. Actually, they are richer than me. And whenever something happens, the insurance will reimburse the money that I got from the insurance. I put it back in their dog fund. So I think that's another way or, budget, allocate. Before I used to go envelope, cash stuff.
Oh yeah, envelope system. I've seen a lot of people who did
Yeah.
that, but I'm just so
Yeah.
minimalist. I don't like it. But I've seen a lot of people who had a success in those,
Mm-hmm.
in those envelope. For me, use whatever tool that
Will work for
will,
you.
will
Yep.
work for you.
Yeah. Whatever works for you. It's an individual process.
Yeah, I think everybody should try different ways on how to do it and
Hmm.
see what's
Yep.
best for you. So do that. But I don't recommend you using your insurance agent to budget for you. I
Yeah.
bought this Gorilla Glue. I think I should start sealing my mount before my trip.
They're gonna start watching us. We're saying
I
too
don't
much.
think
No, but
salesmen
yeah,
are the right
yeah.
Oh
people
To,
God.
to
to
cut
listen
it
to
short,
now.
not everybody has your best interests. Your only advocate is yourself. So
Yeah.
advocate for yourself. Do not let anyone determine that budget for you. And to be honest with you guys, uh, life insurance, they're targeting a lot of new immigrant nurses, guys.
Yeah.
Uh, do
But I'm
term
gonna send
insurance.
you this. What's
Or
your address? I'm gonna send you more of this
that's
Paul.
it.
You want a
I'm
Because
bigger one? You
yeah,
yeah,
share.
bigger
because
one. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can pay the life insurance that they're offering you, but you're just gonna have to walk to work all the time, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you're
Yeah.
gonna
That's
not gonna be
Yep.
able to afford. It's a lot of expense. Plus, I don't think it's realistic. But
yeah.
yeah, start
Yeah.
with your budget first. Work your way into your finances from your budget. Now, there's a rule where you want to spend more, then you want to earn more first, right? So,
Mhm.
because if you don't earn more, you cannot spend more. You're gonna be bankrupt. You're gonna be negative. I grew up from my parents being like buried in debts for years.
Mm.
That's why my early career years, I was just paying my
Paying
my
effort.
debt, my family's debts, right? Uh, and they have a bad habit of if they're not if they don't have enough money, they what's
Borrow
this? They
money
they
again.
ask, borrow money, they loan from someone, and then they
Mm-hmm.
use that money. Now the person asking for a payment, they're gonna loan from someone to pay that. It's a vicious cycle. Once
Cycle.
you're
Yeah.
burned into that, you're not gonna be going out. So I'm a person that's so allergic with debts. That's why I didn't buy a house until I know I was mentally ready for it. Because just the mere thought of can I afford the house? Of course I can. I mean, I got approved for 3 different loans right away, and they were competing for my business, right? Can I afford it? Am I in
Yeah.
stable manner to pay for mortgage? Of course I can. I know I can. But the mental thought of being tied up for 30 years in debt,
Yeah.
That's why I chose Texas. Everybody's saying, why are you in Texas? It's not the best state, right? But it's where I can afford my lifestyle. It's where I can comfortably say, I'm okay to take a 30-year loan. I do not want to be working too much because I have a loan to pay. I do not want my loan to dictate my life. I do not want my mortgage to dictate the number of hours working. Imagine if I suddenly break my femur, knock on wood, and I'm out of work for 3 months and the critical illness, disability, whatever runs out. Who pays for my mortgage, right? If I bought a house for $1 million and then tied up for it for 30 years, did you mean to say I'm going to work till I'm 67 just so I can pay the house? Right? So that's it. Because it all started with my budget. I know that I can only allocate 30% of my net income for mortgage payments. So now you have a ballpark of how much I'm making.
I'm not
But
saying anything.
30%, because I said my mortgage amount earlier. People are smarter with money can, but that's 30% or less. So that's what I'm saying. I have a ballpark. If I can reach, if I'm more than that, I probably have wiggle room 5% plus, but I'm not gonna allocate 50% or more of my net income in a month to mortgage because that's gonna put me under. If the roof falls down on me, that's $30,000 expense, right? If somebody goes into an accident in my house and sues me, that's going to be a legal expense, right? Sans insurance, without insurance. So stuff like that. It's not only your predictable expenses every month. There's incidentals all the time. Your puppy's sick, you are sick, and now you can't work. So be very be on top of that because the only person that can actually determine your own financial state is you. So start with budget. It's the biggest thing ever. Whenever you talk to licensed fiduciary, they're gonna
FA
ask you to
first.
write licensed, all right,
Yeah.
fiduciary,
Can you
SEC,
spell that for me, Sir
registered,
Paul?
licensed financial advisors, all right, which means they work for your interest, not for their bank accounts or pockets interest. They will run you through what you have at the moment. How much are you earning? How much are your expenses? Where is your money going to? And then they will teach you how to reallocate it to start investing, right? But that's it. If you're buried in debts, you know what I did? Um, Back in the Philippines, I got a credit card, and credit card is bad because it feels like cash, liquid cash. I burned my credit card and I owed $300,000, 300,000 pesos, not dollars. My goodness, that's like a house.
That's a house thing.
Yeah,
House.
300,000 pesos. But what I did, I paid it out first before I spent for anything else. Because, like I said, if you do not pay that, you're going to be in vicious cycle of just paying interests. So I learned my lesson. So that's why when I came to the States when I was 30, I'm more fiscally responsible because I learned my lesson already. And I said, I do not want to be in a vicious cycle like what happened to my parents. I want to be better than that. So now I have more grasp with my finances. It all started with budgeting.
Sir Paul, we're the same. Like, my mom has a lot of credit cards when she was alive, and she was so very helpful. A relative will come in, hey, can I write in your credit card? Means you'll go shopping or grocery shopping. But a relative will not pay it all. So
Pay
it
you back.
ended
Yeah.
up we are the one paying it. So I've learned a lot through using that credit card. And let me also share, when I do my budgeting, I have a section of fixed budget. It means the amount of that is fixed, like your mortgage. It will not change for a while, your home insurance. And I have also a variable. It means like grocery. Sometimes will go up, sometimes will go down. And the issue sort of Colgate because Ryan drives a lot. And up until now, we've been here 8 years. We only still have one car, fully paid. We didn't get the most expensive one. Actually, Ryan is like asking for Tesla because of you too. He was like, honey, I'm gonna be 42 this year, and we have got one. I was like, why? So, live below your means, but don't forget to enjoy also. Don't
Yes, every
buy
now and
or get
then.
a lot of expensive things and you're not be able to enjoy it, and all you're gonna do is work just to pay it. We also have the fun money that we have, me and my husband. We do whatever we want. He buy all his toys, sneakers. I used to buy bags like Paul and Marvin. Now planner and papers, special mention. And last year we splurged a lot with the concerts. Those are the fun money that we do, and I
Yes,
agree.
fun
We have
money.
an agreement. This year, no more Christmas, Valentine's, anniversary, birthday. We want more experience, like booking a cruise or
Mhm. Go
concert
to
for me.
Europe.
Yeah, honey, you heard me well.
I got contacts in Louis Vuitton there, Anna. You don't have to fall in line. Just tell me.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
so
Well,
Kay was
what are
sharing.
you here?
Kay was sharing. This is what you look for, guys. SEC licensed financial fiduciary or licensed financial advisors. They work for your interests. They analyze your financial state and help you get through it. And plan. Financial planning is key, right? Plan. How are you gonna invest? What is your goal? When do you want to retire? How much money do you want to get when you retire? So this is the plan. So you can be aggressive, moderate, depending on the financial advisor. And then again, because I'm pro options, pro choice, shop around. Talk to one
Yep.
financial advisor, talk to another one, and see who offers you the best service that is
Pay
in
for
line
your
with your
goal.
personal goal.
Yep.
Personal goal. And I'm talking about services, not offering you one product only, because that's not financial advisor working for you if they're saying is my product is superior to anything else. That's a
Yeah.
marketer that's trained to market that product, and they're not working for you. They're working for their own pockets and commissions. So be very careful of that. And yeah.
Yeah, so they're not cheap. After learning finance, I realized that there's two sets of professionals that will be presented to me. So the number one is majority of the time that the one that will come to me, they will say it's free service and they get the money out of the commissions that they will sell me. So they're
Right.
being paid through commissions. And then there is another financial advisor that they don't charge, they don't give your service, they don't give the services
The-
for free,
uh-huh.
but they charge a cost, they
Yeah.
charge a flat fee rate.
Or
Some of this
percentage of your, yeah.
a majority of the finance CFF that I have is actually flat fee rate, because it's like a doctor. I always see these people a doctor. It doesn't mean that they will diagnose you more, and then the fee for that doctor will be based on the diagnosis, the amount of
Right.
diagnosis. I mean, that doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't
exactly.
look it doesn't go to the doctor. Doctor, I'm sick, I'm coughing. Oh, I diagnose you for this and this and that and this. You're gonna take this medication and that. So if you're asking for a doctor that will charge you per diagnosis and per recommendation and per prescription, then that doctor is probably not going to do the best interest for you, because he will be
Exactly.
motivated to diagnose you more,
For the
right?
fee.
Exactly. But if I'm going to
More
this
diagnosis, more pay.
Yep.
exactly. But if I'm going to a physician, to a doctor, I will present different symptoms, many symptoms, but he will charge me a flat rate, right? That's
Right.
how ethical doctors would do it. So for me, I see financial advisors, fiduciaries are the same. If I'm going to pay fee that is flat fee at the beginning, though they're higher, right? It's not free, but they will have to charge me. I'd rather pay that person a fee to make sure that I'm getting the best advice ever. But there's also excessive fee and there's also cheap fee. I would say an average fee that I would pay as a single person with not complicated investment will be around 1,500, 2,000, 3,000. But if somebody is charging you also 5,000 and you're a single person that you have no complicated financial situation, I think that's overcharging too. So, but I know it sounds big, thousands of professional fee, but this is actually you're going to use this in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So again, imagine that $2,000 divided by 5 years, that is still reasonable, rather than paying somebody who's not licensed to really advise those things,
To
and not
advocate for you. Yeah.
and they're not advocating for you. If they're offering you free, those might be costing you thousands every year. So
Yep.
or
And
10,000 in 10 years. So you gotta be
and
careful on people who you speak with.
and there's so many resources. If you're just starting, somebody asked me before, I need a financial advisor. My first question is, do you have $3,000 to $500,000 in cash in your bank or in your investment portfolios? Because I think at that point you would need a financial advisor. I would definitely suggest you need a financial advisor. If you only have 1,000 in your portfolio, trust me, I don't think you
Yeah,
need a financial advisor. You
yeah,
know,
you
I
don't.
use Charles Schwab for my investments. I like Schwab just because of its clean look and minimalist
Yeah,
look,
me
and
too.
I
I
like.
use
Yeah,
Schwab, and I would
yeah,
say it's very helpful. There's a lot of
very
resources
helpful.
there.
You know, I like to call them when I was starting to invest back way back when I was new. I would like to call them, and they give you free advice from their financial team. But if you go to their website, they also have robo advisors or intelligent portfolios
Investor,
where you
yeah,
can pay like I think it's 100 a month or something.
a year. It's like 300 a year. I think something
Yeah,
250.
300 a year. Yeah, right, exactly. So I think I have that. So talk to you. It's a financial advisor over phone, and then tells you what investment vehicles are good for you or how to budget or something like that.
Mhm.
But there are resources available, and it doesn't have to be expenses. It doesn't have to be cutting too much from your finances. But always advocate for yourself. People that will work for your personal interest, not for their interest of your money.
Not our own
Okay.
Yeah.
pocket.
Yeah, and a
Yeah.
lot of people will abuse this word as, fiduciary,
I'm a yeah.
they will say, they will always say, I have the responsibility to act, to do fiduciary duties. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you, are there doctors who also prescribe things that are not supposed to be prescribed? The answer
Exactly.
is yes. If there are
Hmm.
doctors who are prescribing, and you can see that, I'm not making this up, there are also surgeons that are being put into trial because they're recommending a lot of implants that are not medically necessary.
Yep.
So if we have doctors who are there like that, what more for financial people who will say
Yeah.
those things that, hey,
Right.
I have fiduciary duty, but you're not doing your fiduciary duty. How many people are doing that? And I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot, way a lot. And unfortunately, I always say this: nurses should never involve themselves on this.
Right.
In my opinion, if you're involving yourself in unfiduciary duties, please avoid that. If your nursing is your main source of income, because you can be reported.
Ethical complaint that
Yeah. So,
goes
but
against your
anyway,
license.
so we will
Anyway,
stick
we'll
with the
talk about
budget.
that.
We'll
Hey,
stick with the
focus on the
budget.
budget.
Yeah,
Budget.
Yeah.
because financial advisors are budget too. If you're
Yeah,
overpaying
they are. Yeah.
somebody that you're not supposed to
That
be
takes
paying,
away money from you.
exactly, then that can be affecting your whole budget. I know a
You're
lot of people who's paying like $500 a month for an under coverage. If a medical
yes,
emergency comes, the
hundred
whole
thousand
budget will be
coverage.
negative. Yeah, right? $500 a month for
I
an
talked out of
yeah,
I
for
I had a
200,000.
friend who's paying for the product is called IUL. I haven't heard of that a lot. I think they're paying 250 for $100,000 coverage. I was like, that's your life insurance? I mean, $100,000 nowadays doesn't pay much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're hurting
Doesn't
me.
go a long way.
Yeah.
So when you retire, you're expecting this money to go back. That $100,000 might feel like $1,000 at that point. So you are severely undercovered, but you are also severely overpaid because you talk to a person that only offers one product that doesn't go to your that doesn't advocate for you, advocates for themselves. If they're only presenting one product, then that's not advocating for you guys. You should
Yeah.
have options. And US is the land of options and opportunities. So
Yeah.
shop around, compare. Do not
Yeah.
commit yourself to one thing. It's similar to how you buy a house, buy a car. You want to shop around. You want to buy a bag. You want to shop around. You want to work in different hospitals, you ask their rate, you shop around. Same thing with your finances. Don't settle for something just because you trust a person or something. But I think that's a little way out of topic,
Yeah.
but that's still part of budgeting in
Yeah,
general.
budgeting, because if something happens, like you said, Paul, what if this person has a mortgage and you have 100,000 coverage policy? If that is your only policy and something
That's not
happens to
protecting
you,
anything.
expect your house that you're paying to be gone. You might have
Yeah,
to
that's
sell
not
that back
protecting
to the
anything.
bank. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's going to hurt your budget. And what will happen now towards the end of your life? You probably will see yourself working until 70 years old, and you will never, ever, ever make the ends meet because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's important. A lot of people are trying to gear away from this, but the reality is the things that you purchase in life that you did not think of is going to hurt your budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything that you decide within 24 hours that is a long term and a big decision, I'm going to
No.
tell you, it's going to hurt your budget, and you're going to be paycheck to paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And you're going to be the first person who will say, I'm burned out.
Yep.
Right.
And then my
Mm.
Uh,
mental health is
Because
not doing
because
well.
because then whenever you increase your expenses, you need to work more and more and more. And now you've been hearing nurses doing two jobs, working two full-time jobs. Why do they need to do that? Because they're over leveraged, which means they have more debts, more liabilities, more expenses than what their regular income would support. So that's my question to you. Do you want to be a nurse that's
Yeah.
working too much just so you can support your lifestyle, or maybe you can adjust your lifestyle a bit so it can fit whatever income you have. So that's what Anna was saying, living below your means. But this all boils down again to budgeting.
Yep. And
let me
and
add. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. What you say?
coming from me, if I did not learn this budget, we'll still be in a hole. I am the person who made mistakes when I got here. I did not have the
Mm-hmm,
proper guidance too. I mean, I have some guidance here and there, but it was no solid guidance as we are doing right now.
mm-hmm,
But I put myself in a $50,000 debt as an immigrant nurse
Mm-hmm.
in the United States because there are things that I did not foresee that were off the budget. Example for that, I became a single mom at one point in my life, and it's just not going to be easy. And you're going to have to be working so hard. And then I realized nurses are the most hardworking people on earth, the most ethical, professional, the most trusted. But how come we're the most people who are budget your paycheck to paycheck and will never make
right,
the end
exactly.
meet because we
Right.
don't know how to budget.
We
That's the
hate
bottom.
math. That's why we became a nurse, right?
True, and a lot of people would take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I received a message from my Facebook messenger. I don't know why she's not able to comment. So she asked me, Mom Anna, what will happen if I pass away and I still have a work leave? Who will pay for it? Well,
A
we have
what?
a term work leave.
Oh,
What will happen to her if she pass away and she still have remaining 5 years of paid or the work leave? When I told her, what kind of insurance do you have? She said, I have a term life insurance. I said, that will cover it. And she asked me
should
about
be.
workman's life insurance. Huh?
No, the life insurance should have enough money to cover the debts. But
Yes.
if their life insurance is 100,000 and their mortgage is 800,000, that's not gonna cover anything.
Yeah, that's why she said I told her to get a term life. Because she said I am
Mhm.
considering to get a whole life insurance to help me pay off
That's
the
not gonna make you
house.
whole.
Yes, if I pass away. I said, well, it's not gonna work out that way. So yeah,
Yeah,
term life is better than the whole life insurance.
yeah.
Uh,
Estate planning, put a trust.
yep,
And
estate planning.
uh, the thing is, if knock on wood, you're married, you pass away, your spouse will
No,
be responsible for the. It doesn't apply to me. I'm still currently in the eyes of the government as single. So if I
available
pass, the
and
house is free. No, but if you have insurances, your insurances should be able to pay the whole amount of your, not only your house,
yeah,
every
yep,
liability that you have.
yeah,
That way, remember, the insurance is to help people. The life insurance is to help people, your family that relies on your income, to what you call this, to have that money, all right, and pay for all the mortgages when you pass away. That's why we say you can do term right now, but your goal is to be self-reliant and self-insured as the time goes by. When you
yep,
pay off your mortgages and you have cars that you've already paid off, you probably don't need those life insurance already because you're all set. You already have assets that's more than the life insurance amount that you can pass on to your family let me tell you this, and this is not part of the topic today, but insurances does not make generational wealth. That's a
Yep.
fad. That's fake. That's not true. What makes generational wealth is investing into stocks and particularly real estate. That's what makes generational wealth. Your insurance does not grow money. Your 1 million coverage will be 1 million 30 years later. That 1 million does probably not amount to anything anymore because of inflation. So that's what I'm saying. Separate insurance from investment. If someone's offering you combined, guys, the more you get combined, you don't get the best of both things,
Yes.
right? If you separate it, you get the best insurance and the best investment, then you take advantage of the best things, to the best parts of each. But also, if you're young, you don't have to rush with investing. Time is your friend, right? If they're pressuring you, "Oh, this, and that, you have to decide that. Like Kay said, if that's a life changing decision and it's a major expense, you hold back and think about it. Anyone who's giving you sense of urgency to decide right now something that you need to pay for is that's not a good sign. That's sending red flags to me. Why are you rushing? I'm supposed to think about it. If I'm paying 500 a month, I'm supposed to think about it, right? That's the smart move for finance. If somebody say this is the best for you, you need to decide now.
You create
No,
less value.
yeah, no, that's not how it works. All right, check your
Okay,
budget
Kay,
again.
please. Something. Kay,
Kay, you're muted. Kay,
you're mute.
hello, Kay, hello, Kay.
Hello, sorry, I muted
You
myself
use
because I was
are you
coughing.
using your gorilla?
I know, right? I'm trying to gorilla glue my mouth. So I think I need to buy this in Costco. I need to do a wholesale buying of this. This is not enough. So, but anyway, I would do agree with Paul somehow that generational wealth is not being brought by insurances. However,
Yeah,
insurances can be a good tool if
a
something happens
buffer.
to
Yep.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, if
It's a
something
buffer.
happens to you, if you die, something happens to you, or if you have increased amount of excessive money, excessive, like literally you don't know even, you're going to sleep and you don't have to worry about working. It means that you
Yeah,
have excessive
exactly.
money. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so if you don't have to, if you're right now, if something happens to me, I don't have to worry about working until 65. It means I have excessive money. Okay,
Right.
if you are in those positions that you have excessive money, then I
Like Kay and
recommend
Hannah.
you. If you have excessive money, then you can afford to
They don't
pay
have
for
to work.
these people, right? If you have
Right,
excessive
right.
money, you don't need to get free services. You have to
Hmm.
pay those, right?
Right. And
So
Insurance is not an investment, okay? Remember that investment is different. Insurance is only a protection.
so
oh my
yeah,
god,
so
our
there is
fans and followers will.
estate planner credentials. Like if you are a nurse, you have a credential of BSN, RN. If you have certification of your specialty, for me, I am CNOR, and it's the same. Paul, what's your certification in the
FA.
FNP.
FA.
FNP, right? So
FA,
and
flight attendant.
right, so there are like
For
financial advisors. They have credentials. So please look into those letters that are ending in their name. So it's not just, hey, what's the credential? Well, she's my relative. Well, what's your credential? Well, she's the aunt of my friend. That's not credential. Credentials are the letters that these financial advisors invest on themselves to make them competent and efficient advisors. If they're
Right,
investing on themselves to be the best and deliver you to best, that is somebody that you want to put your money to. And these
right.
people might not be cheap, but they're worth it. So please look at those credentials. I put an Investopedia for you to look at. Estate planner is not real estate, okay? Estate
I love
planner
an
is what will
Investopedia.
happen to you if something, if something happens to you, what will happen to your assets? What will
yep.
happen to your liabilities, your properties? Um, so please, there are letters that are ending on these people's name, like R's in nursing, BSN, RN, CNOR, ANCC, those are ANCC, the credentialing body. But for them, they have FINRA. Those are the credentialing bodies as well. Please look at the letters at the end of their last name, and you have to look for CLU, CHFC, CFP. Those are good initials to have in their titles. and you can ask these people too, what is your credentials? There's nothing wrong by asking a financial advisor what are the credentials. If they're saying that, oh, I am this series this seller, license series this, please look it up. It's so easy. You can ask Google right now, like Paul did. Siri, ask here, what does series, what does series 7 means, what does series 9 means. So there
Right.
are designation.
Exactly.
What are the limitations of these people?
Research.
You cannot ask a urologist to give you a medical advice if
Cardiology.
it's
Yeah.
a gynecological
Exactly.
problem. But they're both
The same.
doctors.
The same way
Yeah,
that
it's
you
clear,
verify
right?
the
It's
people you're
explained.
working with, like doctors, you also want to verify the financial people you're talking to. Let's answer this very quickly. Is term life better? Term plus investing to vehicles like stocks and real estate is the best. All right.
Yeah.
Term is
Profitable.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So weigh what you need. We're not financial advisors, like we said, but term is cheaper and more money to your pocket so you can invest it. When is the right time to have life insurance? Day one,
Now,
all right? Usually
now.
your employer, day one. You do not want to wait for life insurance because life is fragile. Is it
Especially
also
as an
necessary?
immigrant. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Day one, you get life insurance right away. Is it also don't see a doctor first? Don't make my mistake. Don't see a doctor first and get your diagnosis in because they can see all those diagnoses. More diagnosis, the more expensive your life insurance is going to be. While you don't have medical history, get life insurance right away. Is it also necessary to have a will? That's what we're
Yes.
talking about. Estate planners. That's your will. That's your trust. A will is your document that says who's the money going to. All right. But if you have families in the Philippines like me, my mom, right? I think it's better to do estate or trust, where once
Yes.
something happens to you, your assets go to your trust and the trust distributes it. All right. Something like that. So we're not financial planners, we're not estate planners, but it's called estate planning.
But we
All
are
right.
in.
Yes, estate planning. That's what it's called. The will, the
And make
trust.
sure if you have a term life, your benefits. Don't forget your beneficiary. Name it.
Yes.
Put a
Beneficiary.
name on it.
You can
Or your
put
husband or
trust
your
as your
aunt.
beneficiary. That's part of your estate planning. You can establish a trust and put trust as your beneficiary.
Yes, if you are healthy, this is what I always recommend. Fine, Kay, we already got our life insurance and it's quite expensive. How can we change this? Well, the first thing first, I don't recommend you to cancel that because insurance has a purpose. It's to protect you in case of
Yep.
emergency and
Yep.
something happens. Please do not cancel it right away. You have to get a new coverage. If you think you're overpaying on insurance and you're being undercovered, the first thing that you want to do is, if you're a healthy person and you want to cut cost in your insurance cost, don't cut it right away. First, get somebody who will cover you first, okay?
Yes.
And the way to do it, if you're healthy and you want to reduce your cost for the life insurance, I do recommend you get a code for life insurance with lab. Because with lab is they're gonna send you somebody who will draw up your blood to verify that you are a healthy person, that you have no pre-existing conditions. Okay, if you're healthy and you're confident that you're healthy, ask them to bring somebody to send at home to get your lab result, or they will send you to a lab place that they will draw your blood and see if they will actually see if there's something wrong with you. If they will not see anything with you, you're very healthy, your weight is perfect, your blood levels are all perfect, then you will be able to get the cheapest cost of your life insurance. And this is how you save. If you don't want to save, then the insurance agent will most likely tell you, oh, you can buy this life insurance without lab. We don't have to test you. But it comes with a thing there. The catch is you're going to be paying a higher cost of those
Yep.
insurance. Now, again, if
Yeah.
you want to save and you are healthy, again, get the one that specifically says with lab. As soon as they get that lab, they can run different codes for you. Okay.
Right.
So that's my advice if
Cholesterol.
you're in a budget. Yep. If you want to cut down, but don't cut your current overpaid insurance. Make sure that one new one, that is the good one, that is the right one for you, is in place already before you cut the old one. Okay.
All right. All right. I think it's time to wrap up. We've been on for 2 hours.
I know. Let's wrap up, everyone. We need to go. Thank you so much, guys, for
Yes,
sharing
next
your
week. Next
Oh
week,
yes,
episode
next week.
20, very interesting topic. We're going to talk about legal documentation. We're going to talk about how to chart, how to prevent yourself from, getting deposed or getting sued, how to chart in a very legal way. We're going to have a special guest. Okay, Anna, you want to talk about it?
We have a surprise guest, right, Miss Kay?
Absolutely. Yay. We're very excited for her. Him, her, what?
It's a
Do,
her.
do
It's a
we tell them
surprise. I'm
or,
not
or
going to give it.
surprise?
It's a surprise.
Surprise.
It's a
So you guys
Okay, it's
come
a
surprise.
here.
surprise. But
Yeah.
we're
Very
gonna
well spoken.
invite. Let's put it this way. We're gonna invite an expert, a social media influencer that will talk to us about legal documentation. And the expert has experience of being in the courtroom. All right,
Yeah.
as an expert witness and as an advocate for nurses. So we are going to see next week. We're going to talk about how to chart because this is one of the ongoing topics in the forums. Like, how are we going to chart? What should be the right way to chart? Well, now we're going to hear it from the expert. Please join us, guys. And that's it. Thank you for joining DNP
Thank
Unlocked.
you,
We are
everyone.
going to see you next week, Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Time.
Bye, friends.
Bye.